Hi, welcome to Survey Matters with Duncan-Parnell. My name is Mark White, and I'm the Training Support Manager for DP. Today, I want to talk to you about a new service that Trimble just released, the Trimble Reality Capture Platform service. So stay tuned, but first, be sure to like and subscribe. So today I want to talk to you guys about the Trimble Reality Capture Platform service. That's a long name, so I'll probably just call it Reality Capture or Trimble Reality Capture while I talk about it in this video. But it's an extension that rides on the Trimble Connect platform. And a lot of you guys are already using Trimble Connect to send data back and forth. That's what Connect does. It connects the field to the office and the office to the field. So a lot of you guys might actually be using it to send survey data from the office to the field or from the field to the office. And what Reality Capture does is it allows you to share large files from Reality Capture devices like terrestrial lidar, airborne lidar, mobile mapping. So those point cloud files, they're too big to email. And, right now you might be sharing them via USB, or, hard drives, things like that, but they're too big to email. It's hard to send that stuff through Google files, and if you put it on a cloud service, then the other person needs the software to be able to use it and things like that. So that's the problem that Reality Capture solves, is it allows you to share your Reality Capture point cloud data with your customers, with your shareholders, with other people that might be working on the project that don't have point cloud software, and it allows them to view that point cloud, do some measuring, do some annotating, things like that. Now, what it's not is it's not a processing software, okay? If you need to classify your data or classify your point cloud, colorize your point cloud, georeference your point cloud, clean it up, all those things, you still need to do that in something like Trimble Business Center or RealWorks. Then you can take that data and load it to the cloud. Now, one of the really nice things about Connect is or Reality Capture on Connect is it will take LAS E57 common point files from anything. Okay, so it doesn't have to come from a Trimble product. Now, obviously, we want you guys using Trimble products, but Connect will take a point cloud file from anything and allow you to share it with somebody. So you could even go out there with your iPhone or your iPad Pro and use the lidar function on that to create a point cloud and share it with somebody. All right. So I've got Trimble Connect open. Now you do have to have a license for at least like a business license for Trimble Connect. And with that, you get 10 gigabytes of data. And then from there, you can add additional licenses to step up in size if you need more storage. Okay. But this really isn't designed for storage. It's really designed for sharing data. Okay. So I've got my web browser open. I'm at connect.trimble.com, and I'll go ahead and sign in there. And there's a few things you need to do when you're setting up a project. Now, I've got a few projects already set up with data in them, so we don't have to go through the whole upload process, but I do want to show you how to set a project up in Connect for Reality Capture, because there's a couple of things we got to do there. So I'll go ahead and go to New, and then type in a name. For this, I'm going to say, let's just call it TRC, and today's date is like 10/17/24. And this did just come out in October, by the way, so this is a new product from Trimble. That's why I want to go over it with you guys. Choose the server location that's closest to you. So I'm in America, so I use North America there. And then choose your project ownership based on the organization that you have in Connect that's tied to your Reality Capture account. Okay, so then I'll just submit that, and that's going to set up a project for me. There's a few settings I need to take care of before I start loading data in here. So this opened up in model space. I can also go up here to the file, click on that. I'm going to open it up in a separate tab in my browser so I can easily go back and forth with two tabs. But this is the file space, and then you also have model space. Okay, so in file space, I need to go down to settings, extensions, and turn on my reality capture extension. Now, if you don't have that, that means you don't have a license for it in Connect. Again, if you've got a Trimble Access business license for sharing data to the field, to the office, you'll have it in here, and you'll have a 10 gigabyte account that you can up later on, like I said. But if you don't have that, talk to your Trimble dealer. He can hook you up with something, okay? And then I'm also going to set it for the field data, just in case. I like to do that just in case I have any data that comes in from Trimble Access or Perspective or something like that I want field data in there as well. But you have to have that reality capture set in there. The other thing you want to take a look at under settings is your units. Now, this is important. Whatever your point cloud units are, you need to make sure this is set up for. So like in TBC, if I do a structured E57, that's going to come out as metric only. That's the only option I have for export in TBC for structured E57. So even if I normally work in survey feet, it's going to put that point cloud in metric if it's E57. So I need to make sure that my units here match what the point cloud is. So I'd want to leave it on metric. Now, let's say I was working in TBC and I was exporting an LAS file and I was working in survey feet. I exported it in survey feet. Then I'd want to make sure that my units are set to survey feet or international feet, whatever you're using, okay? Because when the data comes in and it tiles your point cloud to be able to view it in the software, if the units aren't correct, it's going to scale it incorrectly, okay? Now, if I do structured E57, and I'll show you an example of this in a minute, if I do structured E57 in metric here when I set it up, once it's tiled, I can go change those units over to US survey feet and everything will be okay. It's just during that conversion process when you're uploading, it's tiling the data in there. It needs to be apples and apples with the units here and what you exported in the point cloud file, okay? So you set that up correctly. All right, so under settings, we had our extensions to turn on. We make sure our units are right. And then we can also go to our team. This is where we would invite the people we want to share the data with. Again, great thing about this is we're sharing data with our customers, our stakeholders, people that need to see that point cloud data and be able to do some light work in it, right? As far as measuring, annotating, really looking around that point cloud. So all you have to do is click on invite people to the project, put in their email address, make them a user. In most cases, you're probably going to want to make them a user. An admin has more freedom to create projects and things like that. You don't really want them doing that. So if you're just sharing your data, just make them a user, put in their email address, hit the invite button. They'll get an email that says, hey, so-and-so invited you to this project. They click on it. They can see your data now, okay? They can look at that point cloud. And they don't have to have any software because it's all embedded on the cloud, right? They're able to view the viewer in their in their internet browser. They don't need to have any expensive point cloud software. They also, the cool thing is Trimble's optimized it on the cloud, so they don't have to have an expensive computer like a gaming computer or some really high-end computer to manipulate the point cloud. They can be out in the field on a phone, a tablet, a laptop. Doesn't really matter because Trimble's optimized reality capture to run on the cloud well. So as long as it got a good internet connection, it'll work just fine, all right? So invite as many people as you want to view the project, to share it with, and they'll get that email. I'm just going to cancel that. But that's what you need to get set up in the file space of reality capture of Trimble Connect is do your team, do your extensions, do your units, okay? And then in the 3D view, I'll come over to the settings over here and again, turn on that reality capture extension if you want to view it in 3D, okay? So we'll look at it there. And then also, again, you can do your units as well. If I go up here, there's my unit settings. I want them to match. Whatever I got in the file system or file space, I want it to match in model space, okay? So make sure those match up. But then once you get those set, you're all ready. You're ready to put data in there, okay? And I can do that, like let's say we had an LAS file, an E57 file, some other kind of valid point cloud file, common point cloud file. I can do that through the file space, or if I'm processing my data in Trimble Business Center, I can send it straight out of Trimble Business Center to the cloud, and I'll show you how to do that. But first, let me show you how to upload data if you just have it on your computer. So I can go up here to data. In the file space again, click on Explorer. I can create a folder if I need to, and then just hit Add, Upload Files. drag and drop or browse for those files right there, and I can load those files. Now, another cool feature about this is it doesn't have to be Trimble data, okay? If you've got an LAS, E57, whatever, from another third-party product, again, you can load it in there, right? And you can share it with your customers. Again, we always want you guys using Trimble gear, but this makes it nice because if you're working with different entities on a project, they can share data, you can share data. This is a common platform that'll kind of go across manufacturers there to share reality capture data. So you can upload them there, or I could go in Trimble Business Center here. I've got a project open, and here I've got an intersection that we did with a customer a few years ago. So if I look at this one's already been cleaned up. I ran the automatic classification on it, got rid of all the noise, classified all the data. And this was done with an SX10. So it's got station setups in it, all right? So if you want station setups to show up and be able to click on the station setup and see it from the instrument perspective, you'd want to export out a structured E57 file. If you want all the classification data to go across, you'd want to do something like an LAS file, okay? But either way, the cool thing is once I got my data edited here, I can automatically upload it to the cloud. I don't have to export it on my computer and then send it to the cloud. So all I have to do, get my data cleaned up in TBC, go to export, and we'll go to the point cloud tab up here. And in this case, I want to do a E57 structured export so that I can see my stations in here since I used an SX10 on this. So I'll go ahead and go to select and just select the entire point cloud here. Draw a box around that so everything gets selected. And then over here, I've got a little cloud button. It says Browse External Service Locations. This is what allows me to go straight to that Connect project I just did, right? So I'll click on it. I can give it a file name. It's automatically going to go with the name of the project in TBC. Click Save. And then all I have to do is go to Remote Save, and that's going to kick it out to the cloud, okay? So just go to your cloud icon. You may have to, I've already uploaded data from this. I forgot about that. You may have to pick your server again like we did earlier. So it might ask you, well, it probably will ask you if you hadn't done it. It's going to ask you for your North American server. Then it's going to ask you for what project you want to put it in. Then it's going to ask you to name the file. Okay, it just asked me to name the file because this was already pathed that direction. So just pick the same setup you did online a minute ago, then hit Remote Save down at the bottom, and it's going to automatically upload that data. I've already got it on the web. I'm not going to make you guys sit through, 15, 20 minutes of it exporting and uploading. But if you got a pretty good computer and you've got a pretty good internet connection, it doesn't take that long unless you're just doing a giant data set. I did do a data set for a guy the other day that took 4 hours to upload. But again, that was like a huge aerial point cloud there. So just keep that in mind. So we'll close out of here. That's how you would export it straight out of TBC, or I already showed you how you could drag and drop a file up to Connect. So I'm going to swap back over to Connect now, go over to all projects, and this test file is the one that I made earlier that has, or a test project is the one that has the E57 structured data already in it. Okay, so I will open that up. And what I need to do first is I need to go to my File Explorer when I first uploaded data in here. And again, I will open it up in a new tab so I can flop back and forth real quick. And I would need to open up that folder and click on, you can see here how, since it's structured, it has a point cloud for each individual setup, right? If I did an LAS file, it would just be one big file. And I'll show you that here in a second. But this one has it broken down by station so I can look at the different station views where the SX10 was actually set up. But I would need to load these into reality capture, okay? So I can come down here to the reality capture bar. And actually, the first thing I need to do is go to the Explorer and click on these individually. And right here where it says View, there will actually be a tile button, all right? So when you first upload data, you got to hit tile. That will tile the point cloud into the software so you can view it, and do that for each individual file. Click on it, click tile. Mine says view because I've already tiled it. But then just go down through here and click on each one and tile them, okay? And that's going to take a few minutes, so be patient. Allow that to tile. Once it's finished tiling, it'll have a view right here, okay? So do that under Data and Explorer. Do that first. Then go down to Reality Capture and check each one of these that you want to view in Reality Capture. So I'm going to select each one of those, and then I'm going to click on View in 3D. And that's going to open up my 3D. And I can go ahead and click on each one of these over under Reality Capture, and it's going to load them into my screen one at a time there. Okay? So just to recap, I went under my File Explorer, went under Reality Capture, clicked on each one of these in Reality Capture under here in the File Explorer, and then clicked on View in 3D, okay? And that's going to go ahead and populate this properly. I've had some other things where you try to load them and it just doesn't seem to come in right. So that way seems to work every time. And now I've got full feature where I can rotate through, look at all my data. Now I uploaded my data in true color. So depending on how you uploaded your data is going to, show how it shows up on the screen here if you had done it in classified colors or something like that. But this is structured E57, so it doesn't have classification, but it does have the station setups in here. So then I can just take a look around the site, look at the intersection, look at the power poles, different things like that. If I want to get that station view, I can just click on one of my orange triangles and it will zoom me right in to where I'm standing, where the scanner was, and I can actually view things from there. Okay, so a couple of different views, the whole point cloud or station view. And then I can just close the station view over here under Reality Capture and zoom right back out. All right, so use the eyeballs to turn them on or off. If you want to see, just 1, 2, 3, or the whole thing, you can use the eyeball to turn it on and off. You can click on the triangles out here on the screen, or you can expand the triangles in your tree over here to turn on that station view. So a couple of different ways to view your data if you did E57. If you did LAS, it's just going to be one big point cloud. All right. So then a couple other things that people can do in here, like let's say you need to do some measuring or something like that. Let's make sure, I want to see this on survey feet. So let's make sure, okay, in this project, I had switched it over to survey feet. But again, I brought the data in metric, then I let it tile, then I switched it over to survey feet so it scales everything correctly. So a couple of things you can do here is you can measure, you can do a perpendicular measurement, you can click on a single point and let somebody know the details about that single point, or you can do an angle measurement. So let's say we wanted to get a lane width out here. I can click on my line here, and you can see we've got typical 12-foot lanes, right? I could check this lane as well. And, again, 11.5, 12 feet, got that typical 12-foot lane there. You can also annotate the data. So if I'm done, I can hit the cloud icon here and I can do cloud markup, arrow markup. I can give somebody some text here and just say, hey, click that. Click here and just say, check this, or, whatever you needed to say. So I can do measurements, I can annotate, hit the done button there. Oh, if I go back under there, if you don't really like the whole, the pink that it defaults to, you can change your color up there. You can do different snap commands, things like that. Okay. The other thing that's nice is once you're done there, if you get things marked up, say you got somebody that's not really familiar with dealing with point clouds and moving around in point cloud software, I can create a view just by snapping here, give it a title like lane width, and I'll just give it a description, check these lane widths. And then I can put in an email address of somebody that I invited to the project. Remember, we took a look at the team earlier, showed you how to invite people. You could type in their email address in there, tag them, tag different things, and then hit save. And what that's going to do is it's going to send them an email. And when they click on the link in the email, it's going to take them to a screen that looks just like this, okay? So I get the point cloud in this orientation. I have my measurements there, my annotation that tells them to check this. So views are easy ways to share stuff with people. If you share the project with them, then they have to come in here and turn the point clouds on to be able to view them and all that stuff. But if you go ahead and get it set up the way you want it, create a view, and you don't have to measure, you don't have to put any annotation in there. You can just get the point cloud set up the way you want it, right? And do a view and send that to somebody. Then when they click on it, boom, it's going to take them right in there. And like I said, nice thing is they can do it on a phone, a tablet, a laptop. They don't have to have a supercomputer because it's all being optimized in the cloud for them. Okay, so that's what it looks like with an E57 file. I also have an LAS just to kind of show you how the classification works. So if I go back to all projects, click on this project called CD, you'll see I have Catawba Drive with an LAS file. So I can click on it. Took a minute for it to lose the old E57 stuff. And you'll see this is the same intersection. There's just no stations in it or anything like that. And it's just one big file instead of 5 individual files because I did LAS versus E57. And so the nice thing about that is if I click the 3 dots over here and go to details, now I can look at those classifications that came through. So if I wanted to turn off everything but the ground, I can just go down through here and turn off everything. And now I've got a nice ground surface. I could take a view of that and email that to somebody if all they wanted to do was look at the road, right? Same thing if I didn't want the, or if I just wanted the power poles and power lines in here. You know, I could turn all this on and turn the ground off and just have all my power lines, power poles, light poles, create a view up here, send that link to somebody. So that LAS file carries over the classification while the E57 carries over the structure. And I mean, you could potentially put both of them in there, right? And you could have E57 files and you could have the LAS files of the intersection in there, and you could have the best of both worlds. But anyway, that's just a quick run through, not a deep dive by any means, but just a quick run through of how you can upload data from any device that creates a point cloud, you know, a common point cloud extension. You can upload that to Connect. Like I said, you get 10 gigabytes for free if you have a Trimble Connect license already, and you can buy more storage as you need to if you're doing mobile mapping, if you're doing large scan projects or aerial projects. Get with your Trimble dealer and you can buy more storage there. But you can run it from anything that can create a point cloud. You can share it through reality capture on Trimble Connect. You don't have to have a supercomputer. You can view it on your phone or a tablet in the field and take a look at that because it's optimized on the web. And it's easy to do exports out of TBC, RealWorks, and other Trimble products. So, hey, thanks for joining me on this edition of Survey Matters, and we'll see you on the next one.